Afternoon, everyone. Thanks very much, David. Can everyone hear me? But here we go. So I've been asked to speak about computers. And the remit that was given was present an idea that changed the world. Make a link as to how it applies to Guyana. Be accessible to a wide audience of students and housewives. So if you're not a student or a housewife, you're not going to get any of this. And it must be one of the 100 ideas listed by time. It's supposed to last 20 minutes, so let's see if I can take a stab at that. So, into it. Just a little bit about me. I'm a web developer and a GIS specialist. Did I just lose the microphone? And done some of my work in Guyana and various other countries. And I'm a graduate of our very own University of Guyana. I, at the moment, try to do both of those two things and pull them together somewhat unsuccessfully so far, making them come together under two brand names of Red Spider, which is where I do my web development, and Caribbean GIS, which is where I do the GIS. GIS standing for those people who are looking at slightly blank expressions, geographic information systems. And I might be able to show you a little bit of what that's about as we go into it. So when I was asked to think of the big idea that computers did, what was it that made it one of the 100 big ideas? Really, immediately, anyone in the field will tell you that there were several big ideas when it came to computers, so there wasn't just one. I've taken a pick of what I think are some of the pivotal ones, and the dates at which I think they were pivotal. It bears further reading, but just to tackle these five. The personal computer. There was a time when the computer was the size of this room, and there was a time when computers were used only to compute, literally only to calculate things. That changed with the advent of the personal computer. The most famous personal computer, perhaps, is the Apple Macintosh, as it was called, which put computing into the hands of anyone. It was a commercial product. It did cost quite a bit when it came out. It cost about $2,000 US, which was quite a sum, even for an average person then. But it was affordable. You no longer needed to be a part of a large corporation to access a computer. You could access your own computer in your own living room. And the thing that really made the computer happen was when people had something to do with it. And the first killer app, as it's called in computing, was a spreadsheet. And the guy who actually invented the spreadsheet, strangely enough, never profited from it. He just came up with the idea that this could be a good thing to do with computers. And he forever changed the face of computing thereafter. Because suddenly, you didn't need to be a scientist or a researcher or an engineer to do something with a computer. You could just be an accountant, of which there are many more than engineers or scientists. In fact, you could be a small business owner who just wanted to do your monthly figures. So suddenly, these two things coming together, somewhat close together, it's 19th century, 1979. It does vary a little, because there were other iterations before they got to something that was usable. Suddenly made it happen. Suddenly, everybody was going out and buying one. The spreadsheet program they were buying cost about $100. The computer cost $2,000, but people were still spending $2,000 to get a $100 product to work for them, because it saved them time, it gave them the record keeping that they desired in their lives, all that sort of thing. So different people from all walks of life were suddenly had a reason to use the computer. So that big idea really brought it home to the public. It wasn't now something that you saw at university, and it wasn't something that you saw at IBM or in a very large engineering firm. It was something that you had in your living room, and you had a reason for having it. The next one, of course, was the idea that we can hook up one computer to the next computer. Everybody's totally accustomed to that today. You walk into a coffee shop and you expect to hook up your computer to the rest of the computers in the internet, for instance. But back then, when it was first done, and when it was first done effectively, it was a novel idea. And what became even more novel, and the one that we are probably more aware of, was when they hooked up networks of computers to each other. So a network of computers sitting in one university hooked up to a network of computers sitting in another university. That's the way it started. And that's why we have the internet. In case you never knew where the name come from. Like international, between two countries, an international flight, a flight between one country and the next. Well, the internet is an internetwork, a connection between one network and the next. And that, of course, as we're possibly all aware of now, made a heck of a difference. Because now not only were you connected to the people in the same building, but you could be literally connected to people across the country. And as everyone is totally aware of now, you could be connected to people across the world. The last big idea that I wanted to come to, and like I said, there are possibly some other big ideas that are there, but these are the ones to me which made the big changes in the world, is the World Wide Web. So, which is probably what everybody is very, very familiar with. How did the World Wide Web change the world? So I'd like to show of hands. Shopping on Amazon. Who thinks so? Right. E-commerce being the thing I suppose that represents. Selfies and likes and everything else on Facebook. Who thinks that's the big one? Nobody's on Facebook? One hold out. Alright. Cool videos on YouTube. Music videos, rock bands, Gangnam Style. Pins on Pinterest. Apparently very popular amongst women. See, men look blank, alright? Important thoughts on Twitter. Is anybody using Twitter? Okay, you have heard of the internet, right? Or a good one, advancing science. Dr. Ryan. Right. Well, the thing about it, the guy who invented the internet, this is what he was trying to do. This was all he was trying to do. He wasn't trying to start e-commerce or anything so groundbreaking. He was just trying to make a collaborative medium, a place where we can all meet and read and write. He's been very quoted as saying a place where you can all meet and share information. Name was Tim Berners-Lee, for those people not in the computers world. He was a British scientist working at a research institution in Switzerland. And this is all he wanted to do. And so he built it. He built the first website and he built the first web server, as an example, and he hooked it up together and he allowed his colleagues to get there. So, how did the World Wide Web change the world, I think, is this idea. Collaborative, place where we can all meet and read and write. And this idea is an important idea, I think, is because it's an unstoppable idea. It continues. You see, the invention of networking, and the invention of the internet, and the invention of the spreadsheet, and the invention of the personal computer all happened. This one's happening. Continues to give people a chance, more and more, of humanity to do what he wanted it to do, to connect, to share information, to meet and read and write, as he put it. And I think it'll have the greatest impact yet to come in the less developed countries such as Guyana, where it is still creeping into. And I will make the assertion that it's now unstoppable. So the most important thing about computers, I suppose, or the biggest idea about computers, is perhaps, yes, yet to come, but it's our destiny. It's unavoidable. Nothing is ever going to stop this ever again. And that's why I think it's an important idea. Let me show you why it's unstoppable and why it's an important idea. Just this. One of the most